Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Chats with Ant and Ryan. Today, we are discussing the 2024 movie A Real Pain by and starring Jesse Eisenberg. And we have to mention Kieran Culkin as well, starring Kieran Culkin.
I suppose we should mention him. I
I
mean,
suppose we should. He just won an Oscar,
yeah,
no
give
big
it.
deal.
Yeah, no big thing.
Um, where should we start?
Let's go. Jesse Eisenberg directs it. Um,
Yep.
uh, I I quite really liked the way he did his direction. It was very tender.
Yeah.
I love the cinematography through Poland.
Mm.
The one thing that really stuck out to me is when they get to the main concentration camp city,
Yes.
that he doesn't have any score or soundtracks going. It's all diegetic sound. It's quiet. It's tender. It's it's beautiful, really. It's just,
It
and
is.
then you see that shoe scene that where there's all the shoes, and that's just like it's real. It's like even right now talking about it, it's putting hairs on the back of my neck and standing up. It just gives you shivers
Yeah.
to think about it.
Yeah, it really captured it. And yeah, that's something that you can definitely notice that there is just no music. There is just a few sentences from the English tour guide that is explaining very succinctly the blue marks is from the Zyklon gas and just the little thing that you might need to know as you're going through. But otherwise, it's pretty much silence. You hear their footsteps and you take it in. You could hear a pin drop.
Yeah,
And I've never been to a concentration camp. I
same.
would like to visit one. Actually, I think it's a very important experience to have once in a lifetime. But growing up in Europe, I've there is a lot of places where World War II happened, and they either kept it as a historical landmark or they turned it to a museum. And I walked into some of those museums, and you can feel this very special energy of the history, and that gives me the same feel. And that scene, I won't forget it anytime, anytime soon.
Yeah,
So
obviously, being born and raised in Australia, I'm so far removed from that kind of stuff. The only thing I can kind of put any semblance of, uh, what's the word, I don't, relevance to is when I went to Hiroshima. Just you walk through some of the city and how well built it up is now, but then you go into the museums and this is all was just desolate. It was just flattened, and just some of the stuff that survived.
yeah.
It's yeah. That's the only thing I can put in party to in kind of contrast to. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. So this one is definitely one of the scenes that I really remember. There are two other things that, from an emotional impact, I can really remember. The first one is when all the people that are doing the tour are meeting in the lobby and they're sharing their story and why they're they're here.
Yep.
I think that was really emotional, even though it's very basic discussions, but everybody's got a reason for being here that is very personal. And you have Benji as well that is telling why he's here and how close he was to his grandma. That was really emotional and very well done, but not definitely not in your face. Like just the emotion is it just built up and
Yeah.
shared through those experiences and those words. And the last one for me that really resonated was the last time when they are on the roof
Yep.
and they are telling each other pretty hard but important truth about themselves and their relationship. And that also, because you have been with them on that journey, they hit hard and
Yeah.
very, very tenderly, like you really pull at the heartstrings.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. Just we've all got those people in our lives that they've been there, and all of a sudden they're not. They're still there in the background, but you don't get to have that kind of relationship with them anymore. Like I've got mates who I'm lucky if I see once or twice a year, and then there's other friends who I don't even see once or twice a year because, they live on the other side of the country, and it's just
Yeah.
it is hard to kind of lose that. Like you do lose a sense of yourself, your sense of your own identity, like especially as you get older as well. It's just,
Yeah.
you've got a wife, you've got a job, you've got kids, you've got other things you need to worry about. There's only so much time in a day where you can't put in that time to that person anymore, and you feel horrible for not doing that, but well, they're not doing that for you either. So
Yeah, it's especially when your lifestyle is changing. So as you were saying, he's got a kid and he's got a stressful job and he's got a wife, and that's the way that he evolved. And Benji didn't choose that way. He's still living in his mom's basement and not really worried about conforming to what society think that you should do when you grow up. So when you have different lifestyles, this is where it's also hard to keep a connection going. So there is a lot to relate, and they are not. The movie is not doing a blame game of saying this one is right or this one is right. Those are two different people that feel really real, but have different perspective and different priorities and experiences in life, which is very touching.
yeah. Well, let's get into the performances because we've got obviously
Yes.
we'll talk about the two. As good as Kieran Culkin is, like he did an amazing job. I can understand why he's been recognized for it. Yeah, yeah, definitely an Oscar-winning performance. He's depressed. Has he got PTSD? He spirals all through the movie. Um, he is, but metaphorically, is the real pain, and he is a real pain, but he's in
Yeah.
pain as well. So
Yeah.
that's
It,
where you get
he's not the only one though.
correct. So we'll get to that. So, well, like, what's your thoughts on going on to Kieran Culkin's performance?
He's amazing in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an award-winning performance. Definitely, he feels very real and very natural. And I mean, the writing helps as well. Like it's very very well written. The dialogue feel like those are real people talking to each other. Um, so yeah, he's very good. His character is I really like, and I really understand when Jesse Eisenberg, David in the movie, says, I hate him and I want to be him because every time that he walks in a room, he lights up the room and people find him charming and connect with him. When you are introverted, it's not something that comes naturally to you. And this is what David is. He's an introvert. Um, so he can be a bit painful, but he also has his qualities.
yeah. Um, Jesse Eisenberg. See, I like
Mhm.
Jesse Eisenberg as an actor. I think he's done some really good movies. A couple, if you haven't already seen them, and that's not just for you, but for anyone listening at home. The Double is really good, and
Mm.
Vivarium. He does really good in these kind of independent kind of films.
Yeah.
He, I think he needs to steer clear of big budget kind of movies because it's not in his wheelhouse. Although I didn't hate him as Lex Luthor, I'm just going to say that I liked him as Lex Luthor.
Maybe you're the only one, but yeah.
I think I'm the only one. Um, yeah, I thought he was really good here.
Yeah.
Did feel he might have struggled a little bit with some of the dramatic parts. That's just my own personal opinion. Just when he was
He mm,
in that
go for it.
in that breakdown scene where he's talking to all the guys at the dinner, where he says that I love him, I hate him, I wish I was him,
Mm.
and he's starting to cry. I I thought he just struggled just a little bit. That's all. Maybe
Yeah.
that just
Yeah. I see what you mean. I have to say about Jesse Eisenberg. So I think the first time I saw him in a movie was in The Social Network, and I really liked him. I think he does a very, very good job at, as Mark Zuckerberg. And then I've seen more of him. I've seen Adventureland, and I've seen another independent movie with Kristen Stewart, American Ultra, and some other ones like Now You See Me, and for me, he got typecast a little bit into this nervous guy that speaks very fast, and I always thought he did okay, but he never wowed me like he wowed me in The Social Network. But for this movie that he wrote and directed it, and I thought it's a very mature and sensitive and clever movie. It makes me want to see more of him, but not necessarily as an actor, even though I think he does a very good job in this one because he's still Jesse Eisenberg being Jesse Eisenberg. I want to see more of him as a writer director because I think that maybe where his real talent lies.
I think you're right. I think that's where his next journey is going to go. Another thing I kind of noticed that I think he's aging out of his that kind of role where
Mm,
he's, the fast talking, the energetic, and the kind of a little bit of socially awkward kind of character. Like the
yeah.
guy's in his 40s now. I think he's the same age as me, maybe a few weeks older. So like he's 41, 42 now. So
Mm,
he's starting to get that little bit older where I don't think he can keep playing those roles. I think he
uh,
needs, so I think maybe stepping back behind the camera is going to be his next step. I think that's probably going to be a good thing for him because he can clearly
definitely.
write, he can clearly write a very good script and there's some good camera techniques used here as well. So I think he can,
And it's his first movie. It's amazing that from yeah
yeah,
that you can do that like from the get-go.
yeah,
Okay, show me what you can do next. Try and top that.
yeah, that's right. Okay, I've got a couple of questions. Is this a
Hmm.
good version of mental health? Is this a good depiction of mental health?
I Yeah, very good
Yeah.
point because I was coming to that. Look, it's
Is it too soon? Should we bookmark and come back?
no, let's talk about that because I really want to talk about it. I'm just organizing my thoughts. I was
Yep.
thinking about the title and how a real pain has different meaning. Yes, it can be talk as this is Benji's character is a bit of a pain to be around, especially when he's got those outbursts. But what I really think is it's a bit life is pain. Life can be very painful, right? And that's just a reality. And we all find different ways to deal with that. And Benji chooses drugs and alcohol to the point that is spoiler alert, is doing an overdose on sleeping pills at some point, which is very cleverly brought into the movie. The way that it's being brought on is actually very subtle and very clever. Um, but then David deals with life and the pain of life with pills for his anxiety or his OCD, which is different way of dealing with that. And not all the way that you can deal with pain in life is necessarily destructive. People exercise, people meditate, but there is something as well on I think Benji is onto is connection. For me, eventually, it's a movie about connection. He wants to connect with different people. He wants to connect back with his cousin. This is where he's happy. This is where he's charming. This is what makes him good to connect with people, to connect with his history, his roots in Poland, because a good social support is the foundation of good mental health as well. So for me, this is what I read of the movie. Might be wrong, but that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I love that. That's a really nice interpretation.
Thank you.
Uh,
What did you think? What's your opinion on that?
um, yeah, because obviously I don't know enough about what. Benji's going through because it's like I wrote kind of notes. Is he bipolar? He's definitely suffering from depression, but
Yes.
then he's obviously because he's had that conversation with the tour guide where he kind of says, you've got to. He kind of blows up at him a little bit, and then
Mm.
the next day the tour guide says, "I really took on board what you said," and then he goes, "Oh, really? What did I say?"
Mm,
And
yeah.
it's almost like he's forgotten what he said, and it's like I don't know if that's a uh, is that something that they go through that they've forgotten what they've said, and just so not
Yeah,
too sure because yeah,
it's a good point. I mean, for me, I really took it as because you have a lot of contrast in the movie, especially extroverted versus introverted.
yep,
And extroverted people, you must have some in your life or you work with them.
yeah,
Sometimes they just, they do say stuff that they actually won't remember
yep.
afterwards. That I've encountered people like this before. So
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Another question I have is, do you think it concludes too quickly? Do you think the story ends too quickly without kind of, is there no resolution? He's kind of
Mm.
Benji's just goes back to where he was at the beginning. He's at the airport. David goes back to his life. Do you think we needed more, or is it the age-old saying, less is
Uh,
more?
it's a good question. Um,
It's probably
I,
one of the
I, yeah, I
it's
don't
probably
know.
it's probably one of the few times where I went, I probably could have had an extra 10 minutes. I reckon I could just make sure, is Benji going back to his home? Is he going back to his
Yeah,
mum's basement? It's yeah, but then do you need to do that? Do you need to have that? Is
I
that too
think
tacked on?
I don't know. It's because it would be hard. It's almost you need a second movie to take your time and see how it unravels. Are they gonna see each other more than 6 months? Like 6 months apart, and is Benji always the one that is gonna have to fight to get that connection with his cousin, or has this trip changed things between them that they're really connected and they are going to see more of one another more frequently? Um, I don't know. It's hard. Maybe it's better if it's left to the imagination. For me,
Yeah,
that's why when I was saying it's a movie about connections, is why is Benji staying in the airport is because there is a lot of people around that are just waiting and potentially bored that he can talk to and connect with total strangers that don't
yeah,
necessarily know all the crap that he has been through, but just see the charming outside. So they are more willing to talk to him and to have this maybe a bit more superficial connection that he's looking for from the outset. I don't know. I kind of like that. But it has one of the best jokes, like in the movie at the end, the slap.
oh
I
yeah,
think I had to replay that bit like a few times because it was so unexpected and so funny and so well acted from both of them. It's a very, very good joke.
yeah. They obviously got on very, very well off screen
Yeah.
because you see all the interviews with them. They're doing like so many interviews that they've obviously become good mates. So you can see that there was some a good camaraderie between the two.
Yeah, even when he won the Oscar, you can see before he goes onto the stage, he just like, thanks him and like give him a hug or something. So you can see that like they
Yeah,
are really, really close
yeah.
together. Yeah.
All right. I think I've exhausted all my notes. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up?
Uh Look, no, not necessarily. I think the maybe the score, just to note,
Uh,
like,
Sh
it's all
Sh
Chopin.
Sh Chopin.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, because obviously he's Polish, so
it's
they.
Polish, yeah. And I think he's
I,
Jewish as well. I was trying to
okay.
Google that. I think he is. I couldn't really find anything, but that's
Okay.
another point as well. This movie, I heard of it first, not because Culkin was up for the Oscar, but before actually a mate of mine is Jewish and he
Okay.
saw this movie at a Jewish festival. And I think when you are Jewish, like Jesse Eisenberg obviously is, I think it also hits a bit differently and maybe a bit deeper when you go
Yeah.
through all that. And Jesse Eisenberg actually granted Polish citizenship after this movie.
Oh,
I
lovely.
read that. That's pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah. Oh, and the house of Grandma Dory was actually his own grandmother's as well. So when they
Oh,
get to the
really?
yeah, I think that's what I think I read. Yeah, that's actually his grandmother's house as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Alrighty. Should we go to the scores?
we should. All right, what's yours?
I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. Really like it. It's a very cozy, charming movie, but it has a lot of depth. All the dialogue are in turn funny, emotional, very natural, and the direction, the writing, the acting, just spectacular. So it's a very good movie. Very, very good time. About you?
I'm going to give it a 4. I really liked it, and yeah, I would strongly recommend it. Hard to get through, so obviously some very, very hard, strong themes there, but a very good film.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Please follow us, talk about our podcast in a good way, please. Follow us, share, comment, like, and we'll talk to you next time.
Take care, everyone.